Here's my non-spoiler review for the Flash movie. I wanted to love this one, guys. I wanted to love this one. I did. The Flash is one of my favorite superheroes of all time. One of my favorite DC characters. I've been waiting for this movie forever. And honestly, I thought this was a hot mess. I did. And definitely broke the DCEU for good as we know it. Starting off from Man of Steel and considering how this ends, I thought it was a disappointment. The CGI was absolutely abysmal. Set us back 30 years. 30 years. There's no excuse for Man of Steel 10 years ago to look better than this movie did. Honestly, I was like, they really were okay putting this in theaters? Like, wow. I don't know. Like, seriously. In the beginning, I was like, uh-oh, we're in trouble here. I hope this gets better. But the CGI never did. It was consistently bad from beginning, middle to end, and constantly distracted me from the narrative and being able to emotionally connect with the characters. Also, I feel like Ezra Miller was overacting in this movie. I felt like his Barry Allen was very obnoxious. And not only do you get one of him, you get two of him. So that's double trouble. It was just so goofy. And honestly, I know this might be a nitpick, but I just can't stand the way that Ezra runs as the Flash. Like that, I can't stand that. I don't know. And unfortunately, I just did not like the visualization of the Speed Force. I thought it was one of the worst depictions of it. I did love Michael Keaton's Batman in this movie. He stole the show for me. He carried the movie. Every scene with him pretty much worked, and his fighting scene I was actually surprised by. I was shocked at how good it was. Michael Keaton is a legend as Batman. We wouldn't have comic book movies if it weren't for his influence and the impact of '89 and Batman Returns. So I loved that he shined in this. Sasha Calle was awesome as Supergirl, although I do feel like she was underutilized in this story, considering she was pretty impactful in this alternate timeline. I wish we got more with her. I miss when DC characters and their stories were taken seriously, with a certain level of respect, sincerity, and maturity. The Flash is one of my favorite superheroes, and this movie just felt so silly. It felt like Dumb and Dumber with the Flash. Like, I don't know. The Flash is one of my favorite superheroes because he's a genius. He's earnest. He's funny. And I think most importantly, he's inspiring. By the end of this movie, I didn't really get that from him. The Batman was the highlight in a Flash movie, and that's one of my problems with it. I do love the themes regarding trauma and how that shapes us, and also the importance of letting go of our past and learning to live in the present. One of my favorite quotes from the movie comes from Batman. He says, "These scars we have, they make us who we are. We're not meant to go back and fix them." And I love this line because it teaches us to not live in the past, but to live our life. It's moments and lines like these, especially the ones where Barry's trying to save his mom or just have a moment with her, that could have resonated harder if they weren't drowned out by the wonky multiverse ideas, which, by the way, felt very reactionary due to all the multiverse stories in recent media, and also the cameos in here that didn't serve the story whatsoever. This felt like what people think Spider-Man No Way Home is. All the negative criticisms towards Spider-Man No Way Home, this is what this movie actually is, to be honest. When I think about how this DC Cinematic Universe started 10 years ago with Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, which is night and day compared to The Flash, let's be honest here, I feel kind of disappointed, especially with how this movie ended, because it's just a reminder of how inconsistent the quality was and what a missed opportunity for a singular, grand, cohesive vision. Barry, please fix this. But it's too late. Look, here's the thing. I want to love every movie that I watch. And for the most part, I do, honestly. Like, I go into every movie wanting to love it 110%. That's how I go into every movie. So it really sucks when it comes to a movie that just did not click with me. And for whatever reason, it was the Flash movie. You know, something I've been waiting for the majority of my life because I love this character so much. DC fan for life, baby. DC for life. Justice League Unlimited, all the DCAU movies, Young Justice. Don't even get me started. Like, I freak out about all this stuff. You know, I love DC so much, but I'm just bummed. But here's the thing, don't take my word for it. I encourage you to go watch this movie, and I hope you love it, honestly. Last thing I'll say is, I'm just scratching my head at the idea that they actually prioritized to incorporate some of the worst things from DC's past in this movie rather than the greatness from the past 10 years. Wild. Like, I'm imagining all DC related things are on the table for them to use in this multiverse story, and still they decided to go with some of the things that we saw in the movie. I'm baffled. Even the villains, I mean, Zod went from one of the best DC villains ever to just a generic throwaway in this. Dark Flash, what was that? I don't know. Superman Legacy, I have hope in you. Let's start fresh.